From deep in the Amazon come rumors of a vicious predator.
She was completely petrified.
It's said to strike with terrifying ferocity.
There's more than one of them.
I'm on a hunt to find the creature responsible without becoming bait.
I'm slipping.
Bloodthirsty beasts, fantastic creatures, and legendary tales of terror. I'm Richard Terry. My quest is to solve the mystery behind the myth on Man v Monster.
For generations, warnings have been passed down about a terrifying creature that's lurking in the forests. Some describe it as being a Bigfoot-type character, and others describe it more as being like a bear.
People say it savaged livestock and attacked villagers. And now it's invading their homes.
And one thing is consistent about these reports, and that is it's extremely elusive.
I'm in Brazil to find out the truth behind the mysterious beast that's known locally as the Mapinguari.
The village I'm heading to is right on the edge of the deepest forest, miles and miles away from any major human settlement.
That's where I've heard there's been a spate of recent attacks.
This track goes northwest, and where I need to get to is northeast. So the village is that way, right through the jungle. So that's the end of this beastie for here. And I'm gonna do the rest on foot.
Navigating through the jungle isn't easy. But I know there's a river running through this forest. If I can find it and follow it downstream, it should lead me straight to the village.
I'm packing light because it's just too hard going if I overpack myself. Okay.
This forest is packed with deadly creatures like jaguars, caiman, and venomous snakes. One wrong step out here could spell disaster.
The river's just there, but it's not sounding like a river. It's actually thundering. There's been really heavy rains this season, so I think that river's going to be really up and raging.
I didn't expect this.
That's a 3-story drop right there.
I know the village is downriver that way. Now, if I start going back into the jungle, it's just going to take too much time. I don't want to be stuck out here at night. I can use a rope to get down the side of this waterfall. And this carabiner and this little figure of 8.
Finding the right tree is key.
These are really established routes. This is good and strong. What I've got to watch, especially with a heavy backpack on and equipment, is that the weight of that water doesn't get a hold. Like a ton of bricks just landing on me, dragging me down with it. And if I get dragged under that water, nobody will ever get me out. Safety line on the camera, and that's it. The guys will follow me down after I reach the bottom safely.
My rope won't hold under the weight of this water for very long, so I need to get down fast. I got lucky, but now I need to get moving.
It's time to get back on track and be focused. Why I'm really here, and that is to get to the bottom of these Map and Quarry mysteries. And the only way to do that is to get to that village and ask some questions. In this heat, walking through this forest, it just goes on forever.
Okay. Look at this here. Right there.
Black scorpion right there.
See that? Look at that.
Right where I put my bag.
Unbelievable. If that stings you, the pain would last a good day and a lot of dizziness. Really nasty little critters. Gotta get out of here. This looks like an established path. Look, yeah, somebody's tied a boat off here. And there's footprints in this path. This must be the way to the village. I can see clothes hanging on a line through the bushes here. I've travelled a really long distance to get here because I've heard that people in this village, some people have had encounters with a creature that is known as the Map and Quarry. Have any of you, or do you know anyone in this village that's actually had an encounter with this creature?
Já vimos. Meu pai.
It seems they all know the beast. And one man named Eddie Nilsson says he came across one only a few months ago.
Foto dele. Quer que eu comece a falar sobre o negócio que eu vi?
Eddie Nilsson here was out on the river and he was hunting. He was hunting peccary, which is like a wild boar here in Brazil. He was right deep in the woods. And whilst he was in hot pursuit of the peccary, that is when he heard this chilling call.
Aquele tira estremecia.
It was so close and like something he'd never heard before. The dogs went crazy. And what did you do then? Did you stay there and try and find out what was making this noise, or did you get out of there quick?
Aí quando eu escutei outro grito, aí eu entrei na canoa.
He was about to lift up his rifle and shoot at what was making the noise, but he ran out of those woods as fast as he could. Well, I'm looking right into his eyes now, and he is deadly serious. It really did shake him to the core. There is something that is living right around this very village in the forests here, and they think it's the Map and Quarry. For these guys who use the woods and hunt in the woods to be afraid when they're used to standing their ground amongst things like jaguars and poisonous snakes and spiders, for them to be afraid in this situation, it is going to be something pretty chilling out there. Have you been back to that same place since you heard this noise?
Tem não. Não.
You don't go back there. Is that because you're afraid that the Map and Quarry could be there?
Eu acho que sim.
But going back to the spot where these guys heard the creature is exactly what I'm going to do.
They have agreed to take me with them hunting tonight, right out into the forest to where they believe the Map and Quarry is. Now, hopefully, by being there, I can find some hard evidence and pick up some clues of some sort.
The hunting trip into the forest begins at dusk.
So we're going off into the forest now. This is Paolo and Hane, and it's just about to be dark. They have a rifle each, and I have my cameras. They want to find their dinner, and I want to find whatever it was that made them so frightened. Literally takes minutes darkness falling on the equator here. Let's turn to night vision. Imagine what it's like if they're out here just waiting to hear a rustle of a tapir or a wild pig or something they want to shoot and eat. And then they hear something otherworldly that they have never encountered in their entire lives. I'm always having to remind myself not to put my hands on trees as we're walking past, because any one of them could contain a deadly animal, a snake, or a Brazilian wandering spider. What was that? Guys, I've seen something. Something big. It's really crashing through the woods. Let's go and see. Let's go and see.
I'm in the middle of the Amazon rainforest, searching for a mysterious creature that locals call the Mapinguari.
Oh, look at that. Black and brown, furry, and huge teeth. Oh, they've caught themselves a wild pig. Let's have a look at those teeth. Oh, tongue's still hot. Oh, I'm glad they got to it before it got to me. Now this was making a lot of noise through the woods. It's furry and it has very sharp teeth, but there's not a chance anyone could confuse that for a Bigfoot type creature. That's just a wild pig. Well done for getting that, guys. Good shot.
The hunters have what they came for, but I still haven't uncovered any clues. I hope someone else at the village can give me a better description of what I'm looking for. Back in the village, I get a new lead.
This morning I've heard that there is a young girl who has had an encounter with the Mapinguari. This is good news because I really need some evidence to help me find out what this thing really is. You had seen the Mapinguari.
Sim, minha mãe estava para Rorenópolis, né? Aí meu tio tinha acabado de vir de lá.
Christina tells me that her father had gone away and she was left behind. She was looking for fruit. A little bit through the trees behind us here. And she heard a noise in the bushes. And she was thinking, this doesn't sound right, this is something large, and she's on her own. She then caught sight of this thing that she said was large. It had long black hair that ran all the way down to its feet. So she ran as fast as she could back to the house to get away from this thing. She was completely petrified. This encounter all happened within about 50 feet from her house. I completely understand that when you see something as unusual as that, that's hairy and moving through your forest, you're going to be trying to run away from it. But can you remember seeing what its face looked like? Or was it running on four legs, or was it standing? How big was this creature?
Uns 2 metros, grande, ele é muito grande.
What she remembers is that this was a tall creature. She said that it was about 7 feet almost. She wasn't able to get a really good close look at the creature's face because she was running away in fear. Long hair.
Longo.
Christina tells me the creature stood upright like a man.
E só parecia o pé dele.
Now this confirmed to her that what she had seen was in fact the Mapinguari right here in her backyard. Muito obrigado. Thank you very much.
With this new information, I know exactly what I need to do next.
I've learnt 2 things from Christina's description. Firstly, that this creature, whatever it is, moves and lives deep within the forest, but it's also brave enough to come out into open clearings, right into settlements, human settlements on the edge of the forest. But most importantly for me is she gave me a physical description. She described something that's about 7 feet tall. Dark fur, this distance, you'd never get a close look at the face, but she could really make out its form. And then she ran for cover with the house in sight.
Christina's story suggests that what I'm looking for is a large animal that walks on 2 legs. And that's also bold enough to come close to human settlements. To me, that suggests one thing: a large primate. So I'm heading back into the forest to an area that's known to be inhabited by large primates.
I'm going to try and use my camera equipment with the thermal imaging capabilities to help me see in the daylight, because with my naked eyes, trying to tell the difference between all these different shades of green is just so difficult.
I'm constantly scanning the ground for footprints or other signs of a large animal.
Well, this is interesting. These look like claw marks. I've spent months and months with black and grizzly bears, and you'll find one tree that they've picked out as their scratch tree, and they sharpen their claws on them. Now, if I found a tree like that in here with claw marks high up, and if I found hair inside those claw marks, that would be good, hard evidence that could be tested. But not in this case. I can see very clear machete marks. These are made by man. That sounded like something quite big moving through the jungle. It came from over there. I'm gonna try and have a look, but I don't want to make a noise. Keep your eyes peeled.
Whatever it is, it's just out of sight. But this is where my thermal imaging camera can help.
This would give me an advantage over a creature that's well camouflaged. Any mammal amongst these trees and plants would show up very, very clearly. Sound's gone from here. I'm gonna keep searching, see if I can find out where that noise came from. Listen to that. There is something out there. Come on, try and get closer. Try and keep it quiet.
I'm deep in the Amazon rainforest, staking out a creature that's been terrifying villagers.
Really close now. The sky looks black, but I can see the outline of the trees so clearly. It really does help me see right through this jungle. There. Right here. There's something moving, there's something alive in the tops of the trees there. Just a little heat signature, and another one. There's more than one of them. Right there on top of those trees, walking down that branch now. See if you can get it on your long lens. There's a few of them. That's a howler monkey.
Howler monkeys are the largest primates in South America. They're known to defend their territory with calls that can travel for miles. But they are known to venture into human habitation.
Oh, they're moving up into the higher branches now. The howler monkey does fit some of the attributes that people have explained, either heard or saw from a distance. Now, the sound they're making, that hooks up with what the hunters were describing, this woo sound that could be construed as being the Mapinguari. It does send shivers right through you, though, when you hear a noise like that up close and en masse.
But there's a problem.
And Christina had described a tall, hairy beast, but they're only waist height. They're not 6-7 feet tall. The local hunters would never confuse a howler monkey for a mysterious creature such as the Mapinguari. But I don't think it's the Mapinguari, not for a minute. I want to get back to the village. I don't want to be stuck here in the dark. Let's get out of here.
The howler monkey clearly isn't what's behind the mysterious sightings. It's another dead end. So I'm heading back to the village in the hope that I can find someone who has seen the creature up close and can help me track it down. The next morning, my team gets the lead I've been hoping for.
The locals here have been telling me about a man north of here who has been attacked by the Mapinguari. If there's any credence to this story, I could find just the sort of clues I need.
And if the creature is becoming more aggressive, then it's even more important that I find out what it is before it attacks again.
It's quite far from here, so I've got with me a day's supply of food and water.
Pra ali,
Up that way.
pra ali, pra ali.
Look at the size of this tree. That just shows you how gigantic things can grow in the Amazon. Unbelievable. Look. It looks venomous, like a fer-de-lance.
The fer-de-lance is the most venomous snake in South America. It's responsible for half of the snake bites in this area, and its venom can kill in a matter of hours.
No, it's a constrictor. It's okay, it's not venomous.
This is an Amazon tree boa.
And you have to watch because they have a real strong strike because they use the distance of their strike to collect birds. But look at the colorings, the markings on this snake. If the Mapinguari is as well camouflaged as this constrictor, is it any surprise that I'm finding it so elusive?
Oh no!
There's a 30-meter drop down to this river.
That's got to be at least 100 foot down. I've got about an hour of daylight. I don't want to get stuck out here.
But it'll take more than an hour to circumnavigate this gorge. I have no choice but to cross it.
I've got to get to the next village before it's dark, and my best way across looks like it's that fallen tree across there. That's where I'm going. I'm going to use my handy cam to film myself when I'm crossing this log because it wouldn't be safe for the crew to risk going over this with that sort of height.
Ah! Bollocks! As soon as I step onto it, I realize just how slippery and treacherous the log is.
The sun has already dropped behind the tree, so I better get a move on. My hands are just slipping all this loose bark. Slippery as hell on here.
Oh, I'm slipping. Oh. I'm slipping. Oh. That was close.
I must remember not to turn my head too quickly or the shift in weight will throw me over the edge. One last push.
I'm in Brazil, on the trail of a Bigfoot-like creature called the Mapinguari.
I was not comfortable with that at all. The surface of the log was slippery and the bark was breaking off under my fingers. Anyway, I'm over. So now for the village. Put that behind me. Feels good to be back on firm land.
Thank God. I can see a clearing up ahead. Right up there. Oh, it's good to be out of the woods. I've heard quite vivid descriptions of the sound that the Mapinguari makes, and also a reasonably clear description of how it looks.
But so far, no one I've met has been able to describe how it attacks. Now I'm on my way to meet a man whose grandfather was actually savaged by the beast and lived to tell the tale. I'm hoping he can give me the clue I need to identify it.
Can you tell me where your grandfather was and what he was doing when he saw the Mapinguari?
Os meus avós, no tempo passado, eles eram muito corajosos.
Adriana tells me that his grandfather, José, was at home cooking his dinner when he heard a terrifying noise. It sounded like a large animal was attacking his house. Then he saw the roof of his house being lifted off by its frame by a huge Mapinguari.
Foram comprar.
He says the Mapinguari slashed at him with its claws.
E acenderam lá no fundo.
He managed to wrestle away the Mapinguari enough to get some distance and take a shot at him. The Mapinguari fled, leaving him alive to tell the tale. Did José give you any other kind of physical description? This Mapinguari was a tower of strength. It had strong muscles. When it stood up, it was a formidable, stinking force with razor-sharp claws. There is no doubt in Adriana's mind that the Mapinguari is real. And a lot of farmers in this region also believe in it and fear it, and they stay close to their farms. They do not like to venture deep into the forest. There really has to be, in my mind, an element of truth connected to the stories. Adriana gave me my clearest description yet of what this creature looked like, and not only that, but what it smelt like. Putrid stench coming from this gigantic, monstrous creature standing up on two legs, covered in long hair with gigantic claws. And it's not just him, it's other people I've spoken to have had first-hand encounters of a creature that bears the same physical descriptions.
But unlike the other encounters I've heard about, which happened during the day, José was attacked at night. Could the creature be a nocturnal hunter?
I'm going to search around the region where he was attacked, and he was attacked at night, so I'm going to do it at night.
This time I'll take a different approach.
I'm heading out using a horse. A horse will help me cover a lot of ground, And not only that, that animals are less afraid of horses. They'll fear a man much more than they will a horse. Flavia, hi.
You are ready?
Yeah, you ready for this?
Yeah? Let's go, eh?
Good.
My guide is veterinarian Dr. Flavia Miranda.
We're heading out just at sunset, and what a difference it makes. Being here on open plains, at last I can see all around me rather than just staring into dense bush. Well, there are plenty of cattle and horses on this farm, but as soon as we get away from the fence and the boundaries here, then we're into wild country, and that's when we start to keep our eyes peeled. Might as well put this to night vision now. There.
Once the sun goes down, we'll be completely vulnerable on this open plain.
We're all in walkie-talkie contact, so whoever finds something first can radio the other guys.
Vamos passar pro cemitério. Fisher,
Yeah.
please, let's go there.
Flavia's seen something up ahead. I've got to go and check it out. There's something in the bushes over there.
Fisher,
Yeah.
let's go there.
Flavia's seen something up ahead. I've got to go and check it out. We've got something right here. Get down from this. I'm following something on foot now. It's moving along the grass, but I can't quite see what it is. It's just out of range of my infrared light, but I'm gaining on it. Just see if I can see it now if I tighten it on the lens. What is that? It's right in the middle of all these really, really sharp thorns. I can't get in any further.
Flavia is a professional biologist. It's her job to check the health of local wild animals.
She's just preparing a tranquilizer. And the way she'll administer this is by blow dart. But it's just losing its balance now. And it's fallen. Oh, look at that. Look at the size of that.
With the animal safely tranquilized, I have a chance to examine the beast.
It's completely covered in black hair. Look at that. If I turn its front paw around, I can see it has two sharp claws. You'd have to be careful of those, though, wouldn't you? They would hurt if they caught you.
Yeah.
Could this be the creature I've been searching for?
Black and grey. That is a giant anteater.
Anteaters are part of a group of mammals called Pelosas that have long limbs and coarse hair.
Tell me, could this anteater stand up on its two hind legs?
Yeah, this is the big anteaters. I think it's 2 meters.
So if this were to stand up,
Yeah,
you're saying it could be almost 7 foot tall.
yeah, maybe.
This giant anteater does have some of the characteristics of the Mapinguari, long black hair and the two claws. Imagining this standing up at 7 foot tall almost, That would be quite a formidable sight. Now, would one of these attack a person?
Never.
Never.
Never. Never attack the person. It's go away, yeah? It's gone away.
It would run away.
Yeah, yeah.
So this isn't an animal that's going to attack. This is going to turn its back and flee.
It's clear the anteater isn't the creature behind the attacks.
It's waking up from its anesthetic. There it goes, a little unsteady on its legs. But he's off. He's off safely.
But seeing the giant anteater up close reminds me of another animal in the same family that might have all the characteristics of the Mapinguari. A towering creature possessing razor-sharp claws that most people think has been extinct for thousands of years. The giant ground sloth.
I know the scientific world believes the giant ground sloth to be extinct.
Yes, extinct.
But there are people out there in the jungle that do believe they've seen something that matches the description of what is the giant ground sloth.
So could some kind of prehistoric sloth be behind the attacks?
I'm going to head into the jungle and have a look.
This time I'm staying the night. And if I'm going to have any chance of seeing something in the dense forest, I need to get a different perspective.
I've searched in these jungles and on open plains. But where I haven't looked is right up there in the canopy. It's in the canopy where there are over half the world's species. I'm trying to find what's known as an emergent tree. It's a large deciduous tree that reached staggering heights after having fought its way for years through all this dense woodland and can grow to heights of between 100 and 200 feet. Now, if I can get up to that sort of height, I'll get a fantastic view of the ground through the canopy, especially with my jungle-penetrating thermal imaging camera.
Sloths are herbivores, and this forest is rich with different species of grasses and fruits.
Imagine I'm this prehistoric beast coming through here, coming through all these palm throngs, looking up at a nice big tree, looking for fruit. Ah, yes. That is exactly what I've been looking for. Look at the size of that tree. Oh, that's got to be 150 foot high. That's the one. That's the one we're going to climb. If ever I'm going to get a chance to see what this Mapinguari is, there is not going to be a better chance than this. Being up high in the canopy and being able to see all the ground below, that vantage point is going to give me the absolute best view I could possibly have. This is the last couple of pulls. I'm up by this branch at last. Now I'm here. I can gather myself, have some water, get myself a secure footing, and sort my camera gear out before it gets dark. There. I just need to take this safety strap. Open up this. something right down beneath the canopy. Just zoom in. Oh, zoom in, zoom in. There in the leaves. What is that? It looks really big. It's moving. What is that? What is that?
I'm on a stakeout high up in the forest canopy, hoping to catch a glimpse of the Brazilian Bigfoot. Last night I definitely saw something down on the ground.
There in the leaves. The sky is just brightening up now.
I want to get down as soon as I can to see if it's still nearby.
Yeah? Hey, I'm down here. I think I see something. Where are you? I can't see you down there.
Okay, that could be it. One of my team's seen something moving below the canopy. I've got to get down there as quickly as possible. While I was up in the canopy, one of my team has found something down here on the ground. I'm going to check it out. Where are you?
Right there.
Look at that. Can we get a closer look at it? Whoa, feisty.
It might look cute, but this two-toed sloth is not to be messed with.
I knew you were going to do that. It was trying a little mock charge. I could sense that it was going to do that. It came up and gave me a swipe and showed me its teeth just like that. A lot of the characteristics of this creature here, the sloth, fit and match the descriptions of the Mapinguari. Just look at the claws. Look how they curl around like little rapiers. And the amount of long, shaggy fur that it has right down its body and swept back from its head. And it can lift itself up like a person or a primate. And this really smells. There's no getting away from that smell.
The female sloth has a cry that's extremely distinctive. And sloths are known to wander into human settlements. There's no question this is the closest I've come to finding a creature that matches the accounts I've heard.
But the thing is, this is way too small to be anything near as tall or big as the 6 to 10 foot descriptions that I've heard.
But the ancestors of this sloth grew to an enormous size.
The giant ground sloth was the size of an elephant. An elephant-sized sloth, 2.5 tons with giant great claws like that. God. Now that would put the fear of God in you if that was walking through the forest towards you.
No one has ever found any evidence of a living giant ground sloth, only fossilized remains. But 10,000 years ago, this forest was their home.
Now it's been proven that indigenous people had lived here 30,000 years ago, which would mean that the giant ground sloth and people would have shared the same space.
So could the stories I've heard be cases of mistaken identity? Influenced by legends passed down from older generations? Or is there really an unclassified giant beast still roaming around these forests?
Now, there are species that are thought to be extinct. They're called Lazarus species that are later discovered to really exist. Could this be one of those species in a place like this?
It's highly unlikely that a breeding population of such a large animal could go undetected. But if there's anywhere on the planet such a creature could still be hiding, surely the Amazon is it.
Now, if there is such a thing as a Mapinguari, if it really exists, if it is out here somewhere, it's not going to be long before there are more stories and more attacks.